Committee Hebrew Ethics welcomes you today. We just want to look at the calendar today so that we can be able to come to a very interesting conclusion concerning the calendar. Perhaps the first question would be to ask, where did the modern calendar come from? We know that 100 or hundreds of years ago, African scientists started and began to count the number of days between the beginning of the Nile flood and the next. These records were continued for hundreds of years. It is from their records that today we learn that there are about 365 days a year. The modern calendar was born out of Africa, out of the waters of the river Haapki, so-called Nile. This was observed as the time between the first appearance of the floods. The African scientists also made another discovery when they looked up in the skies and noticed that the bright star Sirius reappeared in the sky at the same time as Haapki's flood waters neared Memphis in ancient Egypt. The same thing happened after 365 days and again after 365 days. This is the river, so-called Nile, known as Haapki, ancient river that we know of. Now, the purpose of the calendar was for religious festivals. The lunar year was divided into 3 seasons of 4 months, each of 30 days each. And then there was a calculation at the end to give it a number of days to synchronize it with other astronomical bodies. These seasons are known as first the plowing, harvest, and initiation seasons. The plowing period is normally from September to December. Ujija. That's what we know of. The first season of the lunar year starts with the appearance of the 7 Pleiades or circumpolar stars or Kelemela stars in September. This season is named after the 7 Pleiades or circumpolar Kelemela stars. Thus the period was called Kelemo, Selemo, Isilemo, Shirimo, Kurima, Chirimo, Kilima. The celebration of the African New Year in September creates a platform for creating awareness about the African heritage and indigenous knowledge systems, including archaeoastronomy, spiritual, cultural, and agricultural festivals, and particularly the African water calendar. We want to give an illustration of one of this calendar, the Hebrew calendar. African holidays or European seasons, which ones do you celebrate? We see here and we look and we find this is Africa. It goes up into many other areas. Today, we just want to celebrate Lady Keremedwanku of Hamet, mother of Imhotep, the genius, who was deified as an incarnation of Maut, wife goddess to Amen-Ra. Unit, love, peace for all black people. We just want to look at the recently celebrated Sukkot and its real meaning. We find here the symbols of one of the most popular foundational sources of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. These are the symbols. You see the Star of David here. We see the tabernacle here. We see the candelabrum. We see the shofar, the horn. We see the wine here, and the tzitzit or third eye, and the Torah. Most Christians, especially of black African origins, never reflect on why they believe what they believe or do what they do. This is the question we want to deal with. In the Christian Bible, is there anything about specific days God made holy? If yes, which are they? Are these days still in effect? Were they only intended for ancient Israel? Christians follow Jesus. Did he do away with these days? Did Jesus or the apostles observe them, or observed Christmas or Easter, New Year, or any other days like Halloween? Which of these are of pagan origins? Which days should black Africans keep? Does this matter? If you follow the Bible, do you know what it really teaches? These are cardinal questions, very important questions. The Bible does in effect mention Christmas and Easter and certain other familiar holidays, but it bluntly condemns them as heathen customs. Most Africans follow along. They have been taught to assume that what they believe and do is right. They take their beliefs for granted and never take time to prove them. So they go and attend festivals, they attend the fireworks, they attend all these where there are colors and various colors, and yet it is not our culture. Since the Bible, which is the base of belief of billions, condemns these almost universally observed Christianized days, how did they come into popular practice? What impact do they have on black people? This is a stolen legacy. The real source of feasts is stolen legacy. An honest, proper biblical study should guide one to seek approval from God or the Creator or the ancestor, whoever gives them that belief. It is smartness to study both the Old and New Testament, because there is a powerful edict even in the New Testament which says, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God." You have to find that mouth of God. The European powers changed the times, so they represented and usurped the power of God. In this way, they created a cultural spin. Africans are in the roller coaster. You can look at Daniel's additional description of what this religious kingdom would do. "And he, the small horn, shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws," which has been done already. Ancient Israelites were an African people. Moses was an Egyptian mystic, followed by Yehoshua and other Roshis or Levites and prophets. All the Levitical tribe in the Bible carry Egyptian names. Judges, kings, and priests, as black people, they followed Mahati laws of Netas, which included civil laws. They had to be kept as tribal laws as well as taboos. Many rituals and ceremonial laws are part of the law of Netas, which are laws of energy instituted to right transgressions, to teach the habit of obeying Mahat. The ritual laws intended to be kept until one's death primarily involved physical ordinances, washings of various kinds, a designation of uncleanliness for various reasons, and several types of meat and drink offerings. The festivals were a gathering of tribal members. The reason for festivals like Rukoto were intended to teach the meaning of asking for rain and thanking the Creator for rain. The meaning of the Feast of Sukkot and in-gathering was to invoke a good rainy season. Remember what we said, remember what ancient Egyptians are taught and discovered concerning the flooding of the Nile. A deeper meaning of this feast is found from the source of all such festivals, ancient Egypt. So if your belief system has no connection with ancient Egypt and you are an African, you have been disconnected. But if you are not an African and your belief system is connected to Rome, to Babylon, and to other places, you are doing the right thing. But if you are an African, you must find your own belief system connected to ancient Egypt. You see here in Leviticus 23, verse 42 to 43, it says this of Israel's time in the wilderness and how it relates to the Feast of Tabernacles, Feast of Sukkot, or Rukoto, or feast that starts the rain or winter season, rain or summer season in ancient Africa, as per ancient Egyptian teaching as the discoverers of these 365 days. The Egyptians had also many other calendars, the lunar and also the civil or the governmental calendars. But we are concerned here with the religious connectivity of ancient people to a time. And in Leviticus, as I'm reading, relates to the Feast of Tabernacles. You shall go in booths 7 days, that your generations may know what I made the children of Israel to go in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. This is touching all areas of knowledge, literal, emotional, spiritual, anagogical. It's not as it is presented here. It's deeper than this. Hosea adds more to the understanding of how every person is required to go through trials, tests, and difficulties to gain that experience which otherwise the spirit may never gain unless it descends and live in the flesh. This is the primary spiritual purpose of the Feast of Tabernacles, to show the tabernacling of the spirit in flesh when it also desires to tabernacle with the giver of that spirit, which is the creator. This next verse uses Ephraim as a type of all the Bantu tribes, and I that am the Lord, who or your creator. From where is he from? From Europe? No, from Africa. But from the land of Egypt, Africa, will yet make you to dwell in tabernacles as in the days of a solemn feast. So that's the meaning of this feast, showing that our ancient African ancestors established the concept of God. And they also defined the Bantu or the Muntu, which is Ba, So, or Moya, and into flesh. What's the reason of this? The reason of Sukkot or Rukoto is to teach us very deep spiritual truths at many levels, literal or physical. We actually invoke the Creator for a good rain season, for a good physical life. Moral and emotional, we are mandated to rejoice, to be happy, to dance. It is a real festival, not a pretentious one. Allegorical, we dwell in temporal shelters. Our bodies are temporal and they are physical, they are not permanent. Hence, we have to take care of them, these bodies. And lastly, spiritual or anagogical. It teaches the real dimensional reality that we are spirits that dwell in physical flesh, and we have a great goal. This is the teaching that Europe hides from millions as they manipulate us to celebrate other calendars, other festivals like Christmas, Easter, Halloween, New Year, and other unusual pagan days. We should not forget to follow our African Asian calendar. This is a presentation by priest teacher Rabbi Elem Dumizulu of Life Spirit of Amen Committee Hebrew Ethics. This is time to rebuild. Join us today. Subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Goodbye.